Okay, with Sarantos, X9 is the winning screenplay. It's a sci-fi thriller. It's about AI. I guess it's a very relevant topic right now, and it's grand kind of macro themes. It's about AI having emotion, I guess, right?
Well, it's a little different. The one about AI is Algorithm of God. X9 is the biotech thriller about memory with Big Pharma. So I think we could talk about X9, I think.
Yeah, X9, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but that's sort of what the X9 is about too, isn't it? Like it's about the both of you. There's similar themes. Your scripts.
Yeah, they're a little similar in that they're sci-fi thrillers, but X9 is more like a biotech thriller. It's in the near future. It features Andrea Santiago, who's a brilliant but damaged scientist.
Yeah.
She's ravaged by a memory erasing virus, and she discovers that the big pharma she once worked for, the one selling treatments to the infected, is actually hiding the cure. So when she tries to expose it, of course, she's framed, hunted. She's forced to go rogue before her own memories vanish completely. So it's a little bit of the pandemic paranoia, corporate control,
Yeah.
and it's essentially like Black
Conspiracy
Mirror
theories.
meets Arrival. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, with the tension of Contagion too.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah.
where did you this idea, I'm assuming, spawn from the COVID virus?
Yeah, so it was I had I'm actually very involved in the medical profession, so I had that aspect, and then COVID hit.
Mhm.
And I really thought this could be really cool, and it's got a female lead because I feel like there's not enough female leads. And then
Mhm.
the other thing that makes it unique is it's actually based in South Africa. So I don't really know of many things based in Africa, let alone South Africa. So I thought these are the things that make it really unique.
Gotcha. And in terms of like, you are a doctor by trade, right? Like you have a medical degree?
Correct. Yeah, I don't talk about too much, but on the
Sure.
screenplays,
So
yeah,
I'm just
people
giving
know that I'm a
context
doctor.
that
Yeah.
that basically
Yeah.
that you have contact. What you write, you know what you write, I guess, basically what I'm saying.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a medical thriller, and there's a lot of it's not really it's not confusing people,
Yeah.
so it's not talking about all this medical jargon where people can't follow it, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a take on the COVID situation in 2020?
Yeah, it was very weird and interesting to see the world shut down. It was also weird to see people walking outside with their families and spending time. And I think it was, on the one hand, an important lesson. On the other hand, obviously, a lot of people tragically passed away
Sure.
and succumbed to the virus. So that's not fun. So I think this screenplay kind of has a fusion of all those ideas. And I think it was a difficult time. I mean, I don't think anybody remembers COVID and thinks, oh, yeah, that was great to have some time off of work. I think it was, you know, um,
Hmm.
it was a very human time.
I think a lot of people, from a creative standpoint, because a lot of people got to make their write their screenplays and finish their films that they didn't get to finish, from my perspective, and being your and the people got to spend time with their families, and they still do because a lot of them people didn't come home. It changed the landscape because a lot of people have not gone. Like they're still working at home basically, right? So they
Yeah,
everything changed for them, and it, probably they can argue that there's pros and cons, of course, right? So, but I was just curious, like what because like nobody seems to be talking about it now, right? It's like kind of like a subject that
yeah.
nobody likes to talk about, but your script kind of talks about it but doesn't talk about it, I guess, at the same time.
Yeah, it does address it in the
Yeah.
fact that I think a lot of people have forgotten about COVID and
I
they've
feel like
kind
they
of
forgot
swept it
about it.
under
They
the
just don't want
rug.
to talk. It's almost like war. They just
Yeah,
like it needs that
yeah,
space to have
yeah.
perspective, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like in the medical community, a lot of people try to profit off, oh, here's the next virus, and people are not always ethical about it. So I think that's where the idea of the big pharma, they're hiding the cure, and the ideas that I kind of had for this, that it's more profitable to sell the cure
Yeah.
than or to sell the treatment that keeps people alive for a year or two than it is to give people the cure.
Like cancer, right?
Um, the cure in X9. Yeah, it's not a
But I'm
cancer.
saying
It's like
like
a
cancer is the same. People are profiting off of
correct.
cancer, right? It's better to have
Yeah.
kind of like, you can heal the cancer, but not kill the cancer, I guess.
Yeah, there's so many parallels to all sorts of diseases,
Yeah.
and people have this generic mindset of cancer, but there's so many kinds of cancers. Some are caused by viruses, some are caused by environmental factors. So it's just, there's always these conspiracy theories. And I think, medicine, technology, there's a lot of advances. 20 years ago, lung cancer, my dad passed away from lung cancer like over a decade ago. And it was very different then compared to now. Now people are living with stage 4 cancers for years. So the landscape's going to continue changing and evolving. And as a society, we have certain advantages now we didn't have in the past, but there's always this ethical dilemma when you have big pharma, corporations, money, where's the line drawn, right?
Yeah.
They want to make a profit, and some people are ethical, some people are not. So I think it's always human nature to question that.
Yeah, it's where I live in Canada, we have socialized medicine like we do in most places. For some reason, well, there's reasons why, but the states don't have that, and like I'm not saying other countries don't have the same thing, but to a regard, the United States is all about these companies are all about profit. Like no other country can you advertise like drugs on TV
Yeah,
and
yeah,
on the internet, right? You can't do that anywhere else. You can only do that in the
yeah.
States.
And it's
So
changed the landscape, like all these ads for big pharma, it's crazy. People come in asking for these things, and there's side effects to everything, right?
of
Even a
course.
vitamin or a supplement. So it's just this it's just fragile ecosystem that can be set off or set down a path and very effortlessly, actually.
And that's why when the virus when the shock came in 2020 or 2021, people were skeptical, right? Because it was these billion-dollar companies that
Yeah,
created them, right? So
yeah,
you kind of understand too.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And you have all these conspiracy theories. Oh,
sure,
did China create the virus? Oh, yes, they did. And the truth is, like in anything, normal people, we're not going to know all the answers. We're not going to know the truth, right? There's always people love a good conspiracy theory, whether it's about JFK or whether it's about
sure.
COVID. And at the end of the day, right, if you don't have top secret access to something, but as a screenwriter and as a producer and storyteller, this is the cool thing is your mind can go a little bit off on a tangent. And I think in the screenwriting world, you're always trying to create something that's a little different, right? It's got to be fresh but familiar, and that's the thing, right? We all watch Netflix, Apple TV, all these streaming services, and you're like, that's kind of boring. Oh, that's been done so many times. So as a writer, you're trying to do something that's a little bit different, that's human, that's relatable, but it has something different, a twist, right? Because
Yeah,
otherwise, people aren't going to watch it. Everyone's got ADD, right? Everyone just wants reels on TikTok and Facebook. So trying to create a movie or a TV series that'll hook people where they want to watch it, it's a challenge.
yeah, 100%. Like the show right now, I guess as we're doing this podcast is Pluribus. People are hooked on that show,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because it's good.
Well, and you know this, right? I mean, marketing works,
Sure.
right? If you see it plastered everywhere, if it's coming on your iPhone, these are marketing works. And I'm in the music business, right? I put out music. I became a Recording Academy member last year. It's the same thing, right? If you can't put out a song and spend a couple million marketing it,
Yeah.
it's not going to fall on as many ears. It's the same with, the indie scene with movies and TV shows. It's a great series, but at the end of the day, if nobody knows about it, nobody knows about it.
Yeah, it goes in a vacuum, right? Like a lot of music does, right? It goes
Yeah.
on Spotify and nobody ever listens to it, right? So,
Yeah, it's like I
yeah.
think I heard 80,000 new songs a day or something.
Yeah.
So,
Well, let's be
and
honest, most of them were not very good, right? So,
correct, yeah.
no
And,
matter
and
on the
listen,
marketing, yeah, yeah,
I've been doing that 13 years, and I'm a writer, right? I wrote lyrics from third grade. I've been writing movies since I was in seventh or eighth grade. At the end of the day, you're not as good, right? You got to keep working at it, keep getting better. And
yeah,
I think that's what it's all about. And it's difficult in this era of AI. Everyone thinks they're a professional screenwriter, musician, songwriter, whatever it is, and then it's hard to break through the noise, right? Even if you have a good story, if nobody knows about it, it's very challenging. Um,
Yeah.
but you got to love what you do.
Well, yeah, and then that's the thing though. You got to keep plugging away, right? You got to keep getting better, and you keep getting better, right? So what
Yeah.
got you into like you said you've been writing since seventh grade, but what like obviously you went off into a different career. What got you kind of focused on writing screenplays?
So I always loved to, I'm an 80s child. I grew up with Star Wars, Indiana Jones, all these Spielberg movies, and I love writing, I love storytelling.
Hmm.
And I can do that in music, I write books, right? And in screenplays, and they're all different art forms. Like in a song, you have one line to say something that affects, several different sensation, sensory, touch, smell, whatever it is. In a book, you can be very creative and you can be a little long-winded, but again, you got to keep people engaged and keep them turning the page. Screenwriting is a whole other challenge where when I first started, you put all these directorial things in there and you put all these, you're trying to give all this advice to actors, and as through the years you learn to let go a little bit, some of the screenplay competitions teach you, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
You can give a little advice, but don't give the actor all this advice because they want to make it their own, and stop putting directorial things there about painting, shots. And it, like anything, you have to keep working at it and learn that stuff.
It's all about subtext, right? And writing
Yeah,
scripts. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Telling the emotion, but not telling too much, I guess, right?
There's always a fine line. I can't tell you in a song or screenplay, a book, it's always this fine line between you want to change, like in a song, you want to change something every 4 to 8 beats, right? You listen to music now or you watch movies now compared to 20 years ago, the 20-year-old stuff is like more boring, right? So there's new things you do with ear candy, there's new things you do with tension in a screenplay, every scene, so sometimes it can get a little exhausting because you can't, if you say a really simple story, most people don't want that. They're like, there's got to be character arcs, there's got to be tension, there's got to be something to it. And it's very challenging to put all those pieces together. It's not easy.
So you're saying that 20 years ago, music and TV, like sorry, and movies have kind of like make sure that every 5 seconds or so that there's something exciting happening, like in terms of I'm just being simple in regard, but basically you're saying there's not much patience in the viewer.
Nowadays, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nowadays.
if you look at, I've been taking songwriter lessons forever. I've been reading about screenplays, writing books, and
Yeah.
years ago you could go, you could have a shot that was like a couple minutes that just showed the mountain, right? Now it's like everything, like in a song, you can't have an intro that's more than 4 to 8 bars. You can't have these like, 3-minute solos. People really don't want that anymore. But the nice thing about being indie is you can still do that, but you have to pick your spots, right? You can't sit there and have 7-minute songs for every song. Once every year or two, I'll release like a 5, 7-minute song.
Yeah.
But most people want that, 250 to 330, a minute kind of song. And that's unfortunately what you have to do because people just aren't going to pay attention to you otherwise.
Or in terms of, but when you're established like a Christopher Nolan or a Taylor Swift, you
Yeah,
can kind of do what you want in a sense, right? Because you have
absolutely.
that track record, I guess, right?
Well, people will be patient with you, right?
Yeah.
People are going to listen to Taylor's 14 songs on a new album and listen to it.
Yeah.
Mine, it's like so what I do is I put out a new song, a new lyric video, music video, book chapter every month, right? So every week something new's coming out. And I try not to inundate people too much. But again, I have a loyal following at this point that will actually open my emails. My media list is like almost 10,000 people. They get one email a month that says, here's a new song and video. And trying to incorporate the screenplays into that is interesting. I started a few months ago. I have like 8 out there. Won a few awards. I've gotten some writing assignments. One of them's gotten financed, sold some scripts. So again, it's a journey, right? Nothing happens overnight. And it's challenging because most people have one screenplay, they'll keep working at it, pitch it for a year or two. I have like all these different things out there. And the way that I like to think about it is I'm going to do this till the day I die. right? I'm going to keep putting stuff out there and keep trying to get better and better. And I don't get disappointed if I put out a song and it only gets 10,000 views on YouTube. I just want to keep going. I want to be a creative force. I want to keep writing. That's what I want to do and telling stories.
So you said in the blog interview that you're a board certified plastic surgeon.
Correct. Yeah.
And so basically you've been studying like the beauty and perfection of humanity. And it's so funny because you said, what are you passionate about? You said like I'm empathy through surgery, songwriting, or screenwriting. I don't think anybody has that combination. You might be the only one in the world who has that combination of being able to
Yeah.
do surgery, write a song, and write a screenplay at the same, like not the same time, but maybe you are,
Yeah.
but simultaneously in your life.
Yeah, it's a unique story for sure. I grew up with my parents. Again, music and film was a big part of my childhood. And I wanted to do this social media post that says, "Hey, how many people are in the world, right? And how many people are Recording Academy members?" Because last year when I was that, I was like, "Wow, look, this is such a unique thing. Most people in the world aren't one." And
Yeah,
then I was like, if I start releasing into the world that, what my real job is, yeah, you're right. I don't know anybody that has that and, as a plastic surgeon, I think it's so unique, but I don't want to distract people, right? I don't want people to meet me and be like, so tell me about that. Or, when I went to AFM, I went to my first American film market and
sure.
it was interesting. It was great. I met a lot of cool people, made a lot of connections, and I always try to be humble and human. But some people were like, oh, they're talking about financing their film. It's like, I'm not looking to finance films, not even my film. So it's like sometimes, unfortunately, people think they get distracted. They think, oh, yeah, he's buying everything. Oh, he's got so much money. It's like, no, they're missing the point. I've had a very challenging, difficult life. I went through a lot with my health years ago. I had some financial huge setbacks years ago. So people are just going to think naturally what they want to think. But at the end of the day, I love telling stories. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do. And my hope is in the future that I tell my story, that I can reveal both worlds and merge them and just be upfront because honestly, it sucks having to hide a part of you,
Well,
like,
I don't, but I think it's amazing. I think that's your story. Like you're talking about marketing. Part of marketing is selling your story, right? I think that's fantastic what you do, what you are and who you are, because you have a unique perspective, right? Like you've seen the body,
yeah,
like you've seen the
yeah,
body like
thank you.
nobody else has seen it before, or not many people have seen it before, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. It's
yeah,
again, I I guess it is a unique story. I don't think
yeah,
of it like that. I just think of it as my story.
sure,
And again, I'm just trying to, in my perfect world, sure, one day it'd be great to win a Grammy, win an Academy Award, see one of my screenplays get made into a. But I feel like I was talking to somebody the other day about my newest screenplay called The Last Blessing. And I read them the log line, and they were just like, you're not from Thailand. Like, how do you even come up with this? And I think to me, because I'm in this unique position, hey, if I get an idea, then I can sit and research it. And I think my mind thinks a little bit differently. But again, you got to stay in your lane a little bit, right? I don't see myself as taking out a year of my life to go make a movie.
yeah.
I think I have so much content, and I'm trying to find the right partners to help me put my creative art on the screen. That's basically what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so you said that you release a new song, poem, and chapter every month since 2014. So you're obviously a very structured human being, right? It's gotten you where you are. What's your
Yeah,
routine? Like, do you have a certain routine like every day that you have to write? You have to get on the keyboard? Like, what's your kind of daily kind of consumption
yeah.
of life?
So at this point, and again, when I started, like, 14 years ago, I was a writer, right? I did know how to play the piano. I did know how to do a lot of things that I now know how to do. So I attacked, I did songwriter lessons, learned to play the piano, then I learned rhythm, then I learned melody for 2 years. So there's all these things that I've tried to kind of master and then kind of keep going. Then I learned how to, read chord charts. write these complex sheets. So it's the same thing with screenwriting. At this point, on my hard drive, I probably have over 4,000 songs. I probably have over a couple hundred screenplays. So at this point, I can't turn my mind off. Like I went to church today and so I heard some phrase and I was like, oh my God, that'd make a great title to a song. 5 minutes later, oh my God, that'd be a great idea for a screenplay. So I'm just flooding my iPhone notes with these ideas. And again, it's very challenging in a way when you have all these logic files with completed songs and you're kind of trying to figure out, and what's kind of happened over the years is they get put on the back burner and I'm just doing new stuff, right? Because I feel like my mind now is better than it was a year ago or 5 years
Yeah.
ago. So to be honest, I'm not even looking at this old stuff yet. Now it's all new stuff, like, and I don't, I have my job. I'm lucky enough now, my kids are older, they're all over 21. They don't, they don't want to be around me. So I work, I come home at night, weekends is mostly when I make the music, write screenplays. Um, but I don't feel like I have to. And the cool thing about my life is, usually in the winter in Chicago is when I kind of really focus on the books, right? Because you're more inside, you look outside at the snow and the
Yeah.
clouds. The music is kind of always a constant thing, but when I go out of town, when I go on vacation, that's when I kind of really focus on some of the lyric stuff. So it just depends. And I would love to quote unquote make it because then what that means is I have some producers or studios that are like, hey, let us know when you finish something, and we'll, we want first dibs. Have a agent or manager for again, I have so many books I've written. I've only put out fiction fantasy books, but I have horror, I've, Stephen King thrillers, I have all sorts of books. But to me, it'd be great to have a label for my music to say, hey, here's what I want to put out next year. These are the songs, and they could study it and they could say, hey, that's not going to do well, and some stuff's personal and you put out anyway. But I'm kind of at the point where I'm really busy and I'd love to spend most of my time creating and less time marketing, posting on social media,
Yeah.
and doing some of the, putting stuff on CD Baby to be released and then finalizing the lyric sheets. It'd be nice to have help,
I was going to say
because
you
then I
needed, it
can
looks
do
like you
even
need an
more.
assistant. It seems like you need an assistant.
I do, and I need an assistant in each of these fields, right? In the
Yeah.
film industry, in the music industry, and in the, book author
So if
industry.
you
And
the first hire would be one assistant, but you can accumulate 40 hours. You can get them 40 hours of work pretty quickly, one would assume.
for sure.
Yeah.
But what I really want to do too is, again, believe it or not, since like 2017, I have spent almost no money doing any of this stuff. I've mixed my own stuff. I kind of do everything myself, and I have focused on just growing organically.
Yeah.
Back then, I marketed, right? And I got a bunch of fake Facebook bots. I have like, I don't know, 100,000 followers in Turkey or something. So to me, I have pretty much stopped all advertising since 2017, and I've just grown organically. So now when I know that I get, a few months ago, we were up to like 1.1 million views on YouTube per month, right? So to me, I would rather have honest engagement every week. We didn't talk about this, but I host a songwriter show.
Okay.
That gets about 20, 30,000 listeners per week. And every week I get probably like 20 emails from fans. Hey, that was a cool artist, or they sucked, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I love responding to fans directly, it's the coolest thing in the world.
Gotcha. So you're just proficient. That's basically your middle name in many ways.
I always feel like I could do more, man.
Of
I
course.
never
What does
feel
your wife think about
satisfied. I
this?
never feel.
I'm assuming you're
She,
married.
I mean, let's say, I don't think she thinks I'm an idiot anymore.
No.
I think my family and everybody kind of thought I was having a midlife crisis, and you're like, no, no. My sister, my mom that knew me, but even my fam, they knew I always was writing songs and always was. Um, I think as the years have gone by, everybody thought I would just quit,
Yeah.
once you didn't have a hit. And I think the reverse has happened where now even some of my biggest, I don't, detractor, people that were like, you're an idiot, are like, wow, man, that song's really cool. So they can't say as much negative things as they used to about my vocals, about the melodies, about And the songs now, like the Halloween song, I'm too old for trick or treating, right? The Christmas song, Christmas just doesn't work out for me. I was
Yeah.
watching the Polar Express a couple years ago, and that little kid on the train is like, Christmas doesn't work out for me. And I said, that'd be a great idea for a song. In January, the CD album next year, and the January song is um, I used to be young. So I mean, it's reflecting my personality, and now I'm not embarrassed of the stuff I'm putting out. There was a time, especially when I tried to do it myself, between 2017 where the stuff sucked. I mean, some of the stuff you're like, oh my God, I listen to it now, and I wish I could just delete it, wipe it away.
Sure.
But I want this to be my story,
Yeah.
and I want people to that I could do courses and say, hey, look, I sucked. Here's what I did. I learned this, then I learned this, then I learned that. Because as someone that read everything I could, that watched all these YouTube videos, people really don't do a good job of explaining a lot of this stuff, right? You have to pick and choose and say, oh, Tedder says that this is what you should do there. And, Taylor says this is, but nobody kind of puts it all together. So I think honestly, I'd love to teach one day you know, to kind of go through some of this stuff that I learned the hard way. That took me many
Yeah.
years.
Well, you got a YouTube channel. You can teach on the YouTube channel, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's the way the world now.
I know the problem I have is unless I get kind of a manager in these things, it's hard for me to. I actually have a really cool YouTube thing. I've filmed a bunch of episodes. I got to figure out when I'm going to put it out, but it just my calendar has all these things going out where you can't even, songwriter blueprints, which is something unique no one's really done. And if you go on my website and we put it out on socials, you'll see the blueprint, and it kind of is something that my songwriter coach had this little blueprint thing, and I've expanded it. So when you look at each song, I think it's a great way to have people write hit songs.
Yeah.
And I have this thing called Fake It Till You Make It World Tour, which is very hilarious, and it shows my comedic, sarcastic, playful side. But I agree with you. I think it'd be great to. The last 6 months, I've been learning to play the guitar, and I've been putting some of those videos out there, and they've been very well received. People watch them for some reason. It's kind of interesting, but
All right, man. Well, yeah, I think you have to get back to work now. It seems like you're doing a million things. So I appreciate your
yeah,
time, your wealth of knowledge, and it's a great script. It really is, and you're like, I'm sure it's winning different awards, including like not just ours, but so hopefully you can get something made. And I don't know, it's one of those things where like maybe you just need to focus on one thing, and then just focus on that, and
yeah.
then perhaps that like say this script for example, and that's all your time is just on this one script. Forget about anything else in the world, and maybe that's basically I don't know. That's just like a spitball take, but
Yeah, yeah. No, I
yeah.
totally get it, man. I get it.
Because it's almost like you're like the guy who the guy who plays the musical instrument like at the like he's got the piano and then he
It's got
blows on the
everything. Yeah,
horn
yeah,
and
yeah,
he's like doing like he's got playing five instruments that's what you seem like you're like playing
yeah.
like five instruments at the same time.
I definitely feel like that. Yeah, I'm definitely at the point where I would like some help, and
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out where to get it. Because, people try to scam you, and everyone's a
sure.
bullshitter. So
Yeah.
the hardest thing is trying to find good partnerships to grow old together. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I guess that's what all about. That's what it's all about, right? But
Yeah.
it's the key is to finding the right person because the wrong person sets you back, right? So,
Yeah, I've met them, man. Even at people like are like, oh, I want to manage you. Your screenplays are awesome.
yeah,
You meet them, for dinner, whatever, and then they're like, all right, it's $4,000 a month, and you're like,
sure.
what?
Yeah.
Consultant. It's like, dude, like,
Yeah.
just deflating.
Exactly. That's how it works. Well,
Yeah.
all right, man. Let's talk soon.
All right.
Fantastic script. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.